sitting on the floor again. I know you love me. Hey, girl. So, like I said earlier, there's a topic that a lot of men ignore. And that topic is their butthole. All right? And everybody's probably clicking off right now like, oh, shit, I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to hear nobody talk about their butthole. Well, I'm going to tell you about, I'm going to grab a couple things here. Here we go. So, back in around it was 2011 to October 2011 to November-ish 2012 was my first tour in Afghanistan. I was there as a combat medic, and I was attached to a transportation company, and we were basically, we spent a lot of the daytime as a glorified taxi service, running around and dodging IEDs and all the fun stuff that comes with it. At the nighttime, we were, doing blackout ops and supply drops and shit like that. And, as medic, you don't really do a whole lot. And a good day is when you don't do a whole lot. A bad day is when you do a lot. The thing I learned while I was there as a medic is that the human rectum is capable of applying enough pressure to a turd to turn it into a diamond. You spend 99% of your time bored out of your mind. That last 1% of the time, your butthole is making diamonds. And diamonds I made. We're running 30+ hour missions. You take a bagged MRE with you. You eat these MREs, and I think they designed them to plug you up. So, you're on mission anywhere from 24 to 38 hours, and then you come back and you got maybe half a day to sleep, hit the gym, reset the trucks, and then you're right back out on damn mission again. So you're eating a lot of these fucking bagged meals, and you're not pooping. So here I am, after a year of pitching bricks, so to speak, and I tore my asshole. And I mean, it was like a horror show. It was like a damn horror show. I was taking a poop one day, and bam, it was like excruciating pain. Like freaking, Michael Myers just came right up out the toilet seat. Like, damn, what the hell was it? Was that a Metallica album that had the skeleton hand with the dirk coming out of the toilet? That's basically what it felt like. It felt like a shiv was just shoved up my butthole. And when I wiped, it was like a horror show. It was a gore scene. There was blood everywhere. And it was like that for a good long while. And I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to the doctor for that. So that mentality, hell no, I'm not going to the doctor for that, lasted from approximately 2012 until 2022, where we are now, a decade later. I dealt with a torn butthole and bloody poo and just a gore scene every time I took a dump, and it was brutal. It's the most excruciating long-term pain I've ever felt. I went to numerous doctors who in turn, told me, and this was just in 2022. I went to numerous doctors who told me, oh, it's just hemorrhoids. Use this cream. It's just hemorrhoids. Use that cream. I'm like, bro, there is nothing there. There are no hemorrhoids there. So I finally get to a good doctor who looks at my butthole and, gives it the old diddly do, and the old look-see. And it was a really awkward situation, you know. I walked into the doctor, and he's like, "All right, man, go ahead and put your pants right over there next to mine." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I was like, "Man, I really need to find a new dentist." That one never gets old. But no, he takes a look-see, and he does the old diddly-do. And, you know, all the other docs, they're digging in, and they're looking for internal polyps and hemorrhoids and so on. And this doc gets like right to the edge of my butthole. He hadn't even made it through the first little booty hole area. And he's like, "Man, you got a gnarly anal fissure." Okay? So I finally get a name to what I have. I got a fucking anal fissure. I think a fissure, I think like a crack in the earth with molten lava coming out. You know, and I was like, I put two and two together. I got an anal fissure. You know, I'd say there's fucking lava coming out of it all the time because it's red as hell every time I take a poo. And yeah, that was that. So I was sent to a proctologist who goes and he looks and he's like, "Wow, that's pretty bad, dude." And he schedules me for surgery. And I go in and I get the surgery, and I was back on my feet again within a couple of days of getting this surgery done. The blood was gone almost immediately. And then I started bleeding again. I was like, fuck me. So I go back in and I go into the doctor, and he's like, "All right, man, take your pants off and put them over there." It's like, "All right, Steve, try not to get an erection." And I'm like, "I think you're in the wrong room. I'm Kevin." And he's like, "No, my name's Steve." And I was like, "Oh, shit." See what I did there? That's a good one. No, that's a terrible one. I digress. So I'm still bleeding, and he's like, "All right, man, this is probably gonna burn a bit." And without saying a damn word, he's got me laying on my side, and he's chatting me up, you know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, this dude, he's stuck a free. I know what they are as a medic, but a lot of people don't know. There's what's called chemical cauterization sticks. It's basically, it looks like those big long barbecue matches, and with a giant black tip on them, and that tip is basically chemicals that burn. It's like a giant septic pencil that you would use after shaving. You know how much that burns? Well, that was in my ass. He shoved it, put it right in my ass, and you pinched my cornhole shut right on top of it and burned everything closed. And I had told my boss that morning that I was going to be at work after this appointment. Well, after that appointment, I put my pants on, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to work. So I went home and I ate a handful of painkillers that I may or may not have had hiding from a previous surgery. And I laid there and just drooled on myself, feeling like a freight train had driven. The chemical cauterization was worse than the actual butthole surgery. So I guess, you know, I could sit here and say butthole this, but I just enjoy saying butthole, so I could stretch this video out a really long time. I guess the moral of this story is, if something happens and you got a massive amount of blood firing off into the toilet, go and see a doctor. Don't wait a fucking decade. You know, what if that was something more serious? I was a medic. I don't know what it is about people in the healthcare profession. The people that know any little bit of healthcare are the worst people in the world when it comes to their own health. I guess the moral of this story, butthole, is that if your butthole is hurting, or your butthole is bleeding, or you got some dingle-dangle hanging out of your butthole that you can feel, or, you know, anything pertaining to your butthole, or your balls, or your junk, or, you know, anything. If you got something going on, go to the doctor, because they can fix you. There are so many people out there, particularly men. Women get anal fissures too, all right? But particularly men. There's so many men out there suffering from the pain and the bleeding and so on. And they will just deal with this like I did, because it's not manly to go and get your butthole poked and prodded, most likely by another dude. So get yourself checked out. Take care of yourself, because my world has changed. The past, we'll call it maybe 6 months, I think it was. Someone will be able to chime into the comments and say when it was that I got my surgery, because I'm sure they're going to remember me on Discord talking about how bad it was, because after the surgery, I couldn't cough, I couldn't sneeze, I couldn't do anything without shitting my pants, because they Botoxed my butthole. You know, like they do to cheeks, so you can smile and not have your smile lines and not have the forehead lines. Well, they did that to my butthole. So when I took a doo-doo, I didn't get any like crazy wrinkles or tears or anything like that. So in the process, my butthole was completely numb and couldn't do the butthole thing. You know, I just love saying butthole. It's such a great word. So, you know, I got it fixed. I pooed on myself for several months until the Botox started wearing off. And then I'm good. I'm golden. I can ride my motorcycle long distance again without coming back and not being able to walk right for a month, without having blood soaked through my freaking boxers, sometimes through my pants. It's a terrible, terrible thing to live with. And if you're living with it, I'm coming to you straight up here. It's not easy to just tell the world about this. You're not alone. If you have a problem with your butthole, there are doctors that are specifically trained to go into your butthole and fix it. So get your butthole fixed. From me to you, love your butthole. Love your butthole. Get it fixed. See a proctologist, because if it's worse than what I had, the last thing you need to do is wait. All right? Hit me down in the comments if you've ever had problems with your butthole. Hey, don't be scared. There's a no judgment zone here. And on a closing note, I'm going to grab a couple things. If anybody stuck around this long, I'm going to show you. I got my little Kaiser mini therium. Got my mini therium here. And then I got a bunch of forest tanks, but I think I'm going to do a different video on that, or pictures or something. But as a gift, he gave me this little Rough Rider Celestial series. It's kind of gentlemanly. It's a little gentleman's knife. But you know I'm going to have to drill it. I'll have to drill its butthole and put a little doodad in it. Anyway, kids, I'm done. I'm just going to ramble about buttholes and random stuff. I guess because buttholes and buttholes and buttholes and buttholes and buttholes. Butthole, 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 butthole.